All right, well, I had a 9:30 a.m. check-in time for the NCL Prima on March the 5th, just this past Sunday, and I was fully 1 hour and 30 minutes late to check in for this cruise ship because of an issue with my passport. It's a cruise story time with Tony B. Let's talk about it. Hey, what's up, everybody? Welcome to La Lido Loca. I am your host, Tony, your guide through everything going on in cruising. And well, today is a story of passport woe, a cautionary tale, tales of cruising with birth certificates, and a whole lot more. So I would invite you to enjoy the show. If you are so inclined, please consider subscribing and hitting that like button. But here's the story. I have been struggling over the last few months with my passport. I got my passport back in 2013, in April of 2013, and so it has been set to expire in April of 2023. And well, I travel a lot, so it's been a little bit of a challenge to get my passport renewed. I went through a whole issue at the airport when I was trying to use my passport to go to Australia. And well, finally by the middle of January, with a few months left on my passport before it expired, I gave up on getting it renewed quickly and went through the online passport process. I submitted my application on January the 16th, and I went about my life waiting for my passport to arrive while continuing to cruise. I cruised with my birth certificate on the NCL breakaway, and I waited with bated breath to see whether or not my passport would arrive before this cruise on the NCL Prima. And 4 days before the cruise, I went online, I checked the status of my application, and it said processing. And so I'm like, well, I guess I have to cruise on the NCL Prima with the birth certificate. And well, that was the plan, but that plan was upended, shall we say. So we went to Port Canaveral. I went with my birth certificate, my other documentation that I needed to cruise, to stay the night in Port Canaveral prior to the cruise. And a couple interesting things happened in the 12 hours, the 13 hours that we were at the hotel in Port Canaveral. The first thing that happened is I woke up in a panic about 2 a.m. in the morning, thinking about my passport. I knew I was going to get off in Cozumel, possibly get off at some other ports, and I woke up in a panic, concerned that what if I did not have my passport and for any reason I had to fly back home, I would not be able to do it without much hassle. I woke up concerned. It took me a little while to fall back asleep, but fall back asleep I did. And then the next morning, Jenny B, the lovely Jenny B, was checking her phone, and I guess she has some sort of access to see what mail got delivered, like pictures of our mail. I didn't even know that was a thing. That's kind of cool. And in our mailbox, it came a couple hours after we left home, was an envelope from the passport service. My passport was in the mailbox 2.5 hours away. Probably the most logical thing to do would just be to cruise with the birth certificate and say, well, tough luck, I don't have my passport. Now, we are cruising 2 weeks in a row, so that means I would go on 2 separate cruises with my birth certificate, and I'm sitting with this passport paranoia that was kind of eating me up in the middle of the night. And I either had to do the 2.5 hours home and the 2.5 hours back. That would be a 5-hour journey. That would definitely, put us way past our check-in time. But we had a secret weapon. Just barely over a month ago, our beautiful daughter, Danielle, moved to be near us. And well, we reached out to our lovely daughter and said, "Are you awake?" And she was awake. And we said, "Do you have an hour to kill to do a favor for your parents?" And she said, "Yes, I would love to do a favor for my parents." And so a plan was hatched where I would drive 1 hour and 15 minutes to Claremont, Florida, and where Danny would drive 1 hour and 15 minutes to Claremont, Florida, and where we would meet, and she would hand me my passport. Well, that's exactly what happened. I retrieved my passport. I came back to Port Canaveral, and we boarded the cruise ship around 11 a.m., about an hour and a half after our check-in time. And let me tell you, Norwegian Cruise Line is firing on all cylinders in Port Canaveral. Certainly, it was the easiest embarkation I've had in the last few months. It took about 15 minutes to get checked in and to get onto the cruise ship. There have been a lot of folks asking recently how long the passport process is taking. I did the online version of the passport process. I didn't have to send any documentation into the government. I did everything through the website. And so that took from January the 16th when my application was submitted to when it was delivered with priority on the 4th of March. So all in all, a little bit over 6 weeks to get my passport renewed. I am now good until 3033. And what's wild is they've actually changed the passport book. The photo page is no longer in color, and it's no longer paper. It's now a hard plastic, and it's black and white. They changed the whole book. The other thing that I don't really know the resolution to is I also ordered a passport card to use as my primary form of ID when I get off the cruise ship while leaving my passport book in the safe. A passport card won't get you flown home, but it will work as an ID, which I think would be a perfect ID. It doesn't have your address on it like your driver's license, so I'm excited to have that as my going to port ID. But that did not come in the same package as my passport book. I think that comes at a separate time. I haven't gotten that yet. So about 6.5 weeks for me for the online passport renewal. And if you missed that whole story about what happened to me at the airport when I was trying to go to Australia with my expiring or soon to expire passport, you gotta check that one out. That was scary. All right, thank you so much for checking out the show today. This is Tony with La Lido Loca, and until the next time, we'll see you on the Lido.